Hello, everybody. Welcome to Unscripted Access, episode number 128. You're here with your host, Nick McCandless. On this week's show, we have Anthony Ta.
Good day.
And that is it. We had Bronson and his roommate, but due to internet difficulties, it is just Anthony and I. Anthony, how's your week been?
I love technical problems on the Gamer Access, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm doing alright. It's May. We're a month and 8 days away from E3 at the time of this recording, or leaving for E3, I should say. It's really exciting stuff.
Oh man, I cannot wait.
Yeah, the week of June 15th or 16th or whatever that week is. Man, it's gonna be great.
It's going to be awesome.
I don't know if I'm gonna start losing sleep, but but I probably will lose sleep if I think enough on it.
Yeah, exciting.
But yeah, things are all right. I told myself I'll save money this year, and that plan always goes out the window. And already in 2 weeks, I already spent $500 on my computer. Wasn't it supposed to be $400? You listeners say. Well, I just added another $120 on top of that freaking bill. Why? Because my computer started making some weird electrical buzzing noises, I think. So, new power supply, and it got here yesterday, and I just put it in today, and it runs great. So, hooray! I got more electricity for my computer now.
Yeah, it's not worth blowing out your computer because you're.
It's kind of scary when you don't put enough electricity into a computer. Lots of bad things can break down because of it.
Right.
But, yeah, it's running well. I mean, it runs about the same. It's just not making electrical buzz anymore, so that's good. Quality's good when you go this high end. But, yeah, I'll probably talk more about it on the raid. So, yeah, computer got another bump up. Bronson's asking me why the hell didn't I just buy a case already? My answer to that is, I'm not building a brand new computer, even though I kind of did. And by the time Windows 10 comes out this year, it probably will feel like a new computer.
Right.
I changed so much in this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
But, I mean...
Yeah, how have you been?
Gotta do it. I've been good, man. Staying busy. Not much more than that. I put the second 980 in my machine, so I'm now running 980 SLI. So the next big purchase for me will be later this month. It'll be the 4K television. So as you can tell, I am beyond excited for that. So by the time Batman comes out, I'll definitely be gaming in 4K. With The Witcher 3, it'll be close. The Witcher 3 comes out the 19th. It just all depends when the TVs become available. So we'll end up seeing what happens. But let's go
I'm looking forward to The Witcher because it's like, because I bought a new video card game with a copy of it, so I'll get it when it comes out.
Yeah, I'm so glad.
It's I'm gonna see how bad this computer is gonna cry as it renders, like, I forgot how many square miles, which are 3 of known regions there are. That number still boggles my mind.
Yeah. Like, the thing is that, like, I'm super excited I waited on my 980 because I was like, oh, when I build it, let me just go and buy both. I was like, nah, let me hold out because the price may drop and I'm not going to use the second 980 anyway. I'm glad I did because NVIDIA's running a special on their 980, 970 where you get not only The Witcher 3, you get the upcoming Batman for free. So I was like, hell yes. So I was planning to get both those games on PC. Well, now I don't even have to buy them. So I'm pretty stoked about that.
I mean, are you like you remember the Batman video trailer thing they showed at Sony's press conference last year?
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure you're just thinking, oh, you're so funny, PlayStation.
Yeah, it's like it looks so good, but mine's gonna look so much better.
This is a dark path, and we've talked about this before.
Yeah,
and I have sort of stumbled on the dark path. I'm just happy I have such a crappy case that I can't go down any further down this dark path. Aren't I a lucky one?
It's gonna be pretty great though, man. I'll be playing Batman. I'll definitely have my 4K TV by then. So, based off of the specs, I probably won't be able to run it 4K max at 60 because Ultra 1080 requires a 980, but that tells me that I can probably do 2K at 1080 Ultra. So, or 2K at Ultra 60.
Man,
So,
I'm just happy with 1080p. I'll just leave it at that. Okay. It's like I don't have I don't have the money currently to afford 4K displays. I game primarily on my desk, so I really don't have the money to afford a 4K computer display. So I'm just gonna stick with like 1080p. That's good enough, right? And my PlayStation 4 is on my desk, my Wii U's on my desk, and if I get an Xbox One, I don't know how I'm gonna fit this on my desk, but I game at my desk, and 1080p looks pretty darn good. Although I would say that by 2015 now, it looks pretty normal once you get used to it, and you're like, I wonder how much sharper it could be with 4K. And then the dark path starts again.
well, yeah, and that's gonna be my, I wouldn't necessarily say problem, but obsession. It is just gonna be like, okay, Uncharted's out. Well, everyone's talking about this is the best looking game ever. And then I'm like, not really. I played Batman in 4K, and it looks a lot better.
Well, that's
like I'm already
like
in that situation where I'm like, I wish this game was on PC. I wish this game was on PC. You know what? I wish every game was on PC.
See, now you have been officially and fully corrupted by the PC master race, and that's not cool, because we actually need to focus on game consoles once in a while, because I don't even want to know what you think when you look at a Wii U now.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Like, I look at a Wii U and I'm just like, yay, this game is so much fun, and then you're just gonna come in the room and just be like, oh, barely 1080p, not good enough. I need 4K Nintendo. And I'm just be like, what the hell?
Exactly.
That's the thing that people forget about the Wii U. It's a native 1080p system. Granted, it doesn't make the best 1080p, but hey, it's a native 1080p system. At least it wasn't like with the Wii, where they...
Pretty much hardware-wise, it's barely better than the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Barely.
What? What is clearly better?
No, I'm saying that the Wii U is barely better hardware-wise than the PS3 and 360.
Well, I guess it's kind of debatable, because, man, the Wii U is a really... It's a really bizarre kind of system when you take a look at its architecture and all those little chips in there. It's a really bizarre setup that I don't even know how to compare it to a 360 or PS3. It's just kind of, I just know that games at 1080p are quite fine, and 1080p is quite a much bigger resolution than 720p, so maybe it's more powerful, but man, the Wii U it's weird. It's weird, like Nintendo. You love them, right? You kind of hate it. Nintendo. I always say this about Nintendo. It's a constant love-hate relationship. One week you could absolutely love everything they just said, and then another week you're just be like, you guys are just freaking stupid. Like Nintendo with DLC. Nintendo knows how to do DLC. Like, for example, hey guys, would you like to add more to your Mario Kart game? Do you love Mario Kart? Okay, we've got this Skyward Sword pack, and we've got the Animal Crossing pack, all yours for $12 if you want both, or you can buy them separately. And if you like Mario Kart, it's an add-on, but if you don't want it, that's okay, because you still have lots of tracks and cars, and you feel like you're getting the proper Mario Kart experience. Like, Nintendo can still do DLC because sometimes being old-fashioned could be good. Whereas the new Batman game, that's really worrying. I'm just like, the more I hear about it, the more I'm just like, it's like W Games just knows you will buy it because you love Batman. We've got Batman, and you will pay any price to get it, right, guys? Right, guys? And I'm just like, man, this just feels really evil.
Well, yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that. That's like the perfect segue into our first news story for today. So, Warner Brothers has come out and discussed more in depth this season pass for Batman Arkham Knight, because obviously when it was announced, the whole internet's like, oh my god, this is Mortal Kombat 10 all over again. I know we were really upset over it. So, let me go ahead and tell you what they announced and see if this makes you any more relieved or happy. I know it makes me a little bit happier. So they said, we've heard from our community that you want more information on what we'll be delivering in the Season Pass. While we aren't ready to unveil every aspect of the content we'll be developing, we would like to share some detail now to give you a better sense of the scope of the Season Pass. You ready? Okay. Batgirl, A Matter of Family. An all-new prequel story expansion in an entirely new location where you play as Batgirl for the very first time in the Arkham series. Check out the first render of Batgirl, which they released a render of it. The Season of Infamy. Play as Batman in all-new story missions featuring legendary supervillains invading Gotham City with new story arcs, missions, and gameplay features. Gotham City Stories. Play as Batman's key allies in narrative missions extending their storylines from both before and after the events in Batman Arkham Knight. Legendary Batmobiles with themed tracks. Drive the most iconic Batmobiles from Batman's 75-year history on custom-built race tracks, each themed to that Batmobile's specific era. Every Batmobile will be drivable across every racetrack. Crime Fighter Challenge Maps. Engage in a series of new challenge maps utilizing the unique playstyles of Batman and his allies. Character skins. A variety of skins from across the eras for Batman, Robin, Nightwing, and Catwoman. They said, as we fully ramp up development on the Season Pass, we'll be sharing even more details on every monthly content drop. We hope you enjoy playing Batman Arkham Knight as much as we've enjoyed making it. So here's my thing. The deal with the Season Pass, we discussed this last week, but we'll discuss it again. $40 gets you 6 months. Every month, there will be a content drop, okay? So, this makes me feel a little bit better, and I'll tell you why. This is content that, sure, some of it may be done already or maybe close to done, but none of this content is necessarily pulled from the game itself. So, for $60, at least this is how they're making it sound, you're still going to get your $60 Batman experience, okay? So nothing changes there. The only difference is that rather than like most companies, they finish up a game, they begin working on the next thing, they're going to be putting in all their resources to extending the life of the game, and obviously they can't do that for free, so they end up charging for it. So it just comes down to, I mean, you're getting all these new missions, you have to play as all these different characters, you want to pay for it. It's $40, and you get the new content drop every month. So for 6 months of support, you're getting, for $40, you're getting 6 months of new content, and new content dropping every single month. And from what they've announced, just from what they've announced, I think it may be worth it. I think it may be worth it. Like I said, as long as they're not pulling anything, and it's for the $60 game, you're still getting a full Batman experience with no lost features, and it's still a very solid game. I have no problem with that because they're not doing anything wrong. They're still delivering what's worth $60. They're just extending it and making the experience better for Batman. But what are your thoughts on it, Anthony?
It better feel like it's extending it. It better. Because obviously, what's the publisher going to say? Oh yeah, it's it's not extension. It's just fill in. Like, do you think they're going to pitch it like that? No, of course they're going to say it's going to be extending.
Of course not. But like, listen to this. Okay, so one of them it's a prequel, and you're playing as Batgirl. Okay, the other one you're playing as Batman, but it seems a little bit different. It says play as Batman in all new story missions featuring legendary supervillains invading Gotham City with new story arcs, missions, and gameplay features. So, really quick, Bronson is back with the show, guys. I know earlier I said, oh, he has
Bronson, the intern back.
Seems like his internet has brought him back to life.
Mass resurrection.
Phoenix Downs for everyone.
We listened to the World of Warcraft soundtrack, the Warlords of Draenor one, while waiting for the internet to come back up, and it worked.
Wow, I really was right calling mass resurrection. Hell yeah.
Someone used mass res, and we were back. So we're good.
Cool.
Great. So I just ran through all of, I'm sure you've read it, Bronson. I know you're super excited for Batman. So I read through like all the announced content that's going to be a part of this season pass for Batman Arkham Knight. And I personally, my thoughts on it is like, okay, I'm not as upset as I was last week because at least it seems, the way they're making it seem, that hey, we're still delivering a $60 Batman. This is going to be a full-fledged Batman experience, whether you get the season pass or not. You're not having anything pulled from you. There's no, pay for this fatality. It's not like you have to pay for to get your experience. You pay $60, you get a Batman experience. But if you want to extend your experience, you're going to pay $40, 6 months to get a new content drop every single month. And from what they've announced, those content drops are pretty significant. Remember, you're paying $40 for 6 months. That equates to what? About $8 a month. A little less than $8 a month you're paying. And depending on how long these stories are. So, for example, with the Batgirl story, the Season of Infamy, the Gotham City stories, I will say as long as each content drop brings about at least 3 hours of unique gaming experiences, then it's worth it. Absolutely. If every month it's like 4 to 5 hours of gameplay experiences that were not like the single player experience, completely for it, and I'll probably do it.
Every single month for it. 1 month, 4 to 5 hours of Batmobile racing, really?
Well,
why do I feel like that's not going to work?
Well, I'm talking about the storyline.
Yeah, but the story, I get that.
Yeah, so they've announced 3. They've announced Batgirl, Matter of Family, the Season of Infamy, and then Gotham City Stories. They said that there's more that they're going to announce. So who knows? Maybe at E3, because E3 is going to be like right before, they might be like, bam, we're bringing this to Batman. It'll be coming out in a few months or something like that. But in addition to those 3 stories, you're getting the Batmobiles tracks with racing, Crime Fighter challenge maps, new character skins. I don't really care about the character skins.
I care about the character skins because they got Adam West Batman on there.
They do have Adam West. That is exciting.
Who doesn't want Adam West Batman?
Like skins, like I don't like the idea of paying for skins because like how
No,
long
I don't.
Yeah, like what may get me to buy this is the story missions. Like, yeah, the Batmobile racing sounds like it could be fun. It could be. I don't know. It depends how they execute on it.
If they give me an animated series Batmobile to race in, oh my god, I would be so happy.
Why do I feel like it's the Batman version of Twisted Metal?
Dude,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Because it's like the Batmobile has all these weapons on it, and it's gonna drive like a tank anyway. So Twisted Metal Batman Edition.
That sounds awesome. I'm A-okay with this.
I mean, assuming they do that right. Because it's like Batmobile racing, I'm just like, what's so fun about driving a Batmobile around city blocks at high speed? Like, you're obviously going to use weapons for some reason, so that just sounds like a Twisted Metal thing to me.
Yeah, so my thing is that I'm definitely getting the game. I'm getting the game for free, actually, because I got the game free with my second 980.
Free,
I bought my second 980, and I got Batman for free, and I'm getting The Witcher 3 for free. I'm like, hell yeah. So realistically, I've only got to spend $40 for the game and the season pass. So, I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on this? I mean, I'm not going to rush to buy it. I'm not going to buy the season pass day one. I'm going to enjoy the game as it is, and then once they release their first content drop, I'm gonna wait to see what people are saying about it. Does it really seem worth it? And then I might pull the plug on it.
For me, it's a case of we will see, because it's not like WB Games doesn't exactly have a very good history with DLC, because I watched the Jim Sterling video on the whole history of WB kind of abusing the whole DLC kind of thing. So I'm like, well, we'll see. And they're like, well, think about it. It's an add-on. Well, of course they're going to say it's an add-on. It's just going to come down to how well they do it. Like, absolute best-case scenario, it could be like a Mass Effect 2, where all this extra stuff actually does add on to the game. It's going to be like, awesome. It could be something kind of mediocre, where you have one awesome thing like Citadel, but everything else is kind of filler. Or in the worst case, what we fear the most, which is the game kind of feels like it wasn't really finished, and then you need DLC to make it feel like it's finished, which probably is not the case considering what they said so far now, but who knows?
Yeah, that's why I'm just going to wait and see. Like I said, I'm not going to rush to buy the season pass. I'm just going to wait until, like I said, they still have yet to announce some of the content. I have a feeling they'll probably announce something. I mean, with Sony working close with them, I wouldn't be surprised if they say, if you own the PlayStation 4 version, you'll get this exclusive story thing or something like that. I won't be surprised whatsoever. So we'll see what happens, but I mean, I'm definitely gonna enjoy the hell out of the game. I just hope that maybe they have a team that's finishing up the game, and then they broke off a division of their team to start working on this content. And then when the game's fully out, they're to merge their entire team over to work on all this new content. That I'm fine with. I completely understand. Like, especially for my job, like when we have a client and we release the app into the App Store, and then they want us to like implement all these new features and stuff like that, we just can't do it for free because we have to pay our staff to implement. None of this stuff is free. So I completely understand that. It's just it's not like we're saying, okay, we're going to pull these couple features from the app from the client, then release it and say, oh, you want that? Okay, we got to charge you. And then tell them, oh, it's ready in a week. Haha, trick's on you. We had it done the entire time. So we'll end up seeing what happens. But Bronson got disconnected. His internet is not as reliable as we thought it would be. So it may just be Anthony and I. I know Bronson would have had his good thoughts on this because I know he's more excited for Batman than any of us. I mean, I'm super excited for it, but Bronson's like completely stoked. I was about to say Bratman. But what? I know Bronson. I know I was mixing Batman and Bronson. But I cannot wait. I will be playing this in glorious 2K on my on my TV, so it's gonna be pretty amazing. So
we get it, Nick. You have such a superior computer that every game that comes out must run on that computer and look more superior than anything else. Okay, we got it. We got it.
So that's gonna be pretty.
Look,
sweet.
Let's just say that I'm kind of just happy the fact that I'm gonna give like Arkham another chance because I tried Arkham City and I got really stuck in like an hour and I'm like, what the hell? But I really like Arkham Asylum, so yeah. Actually,
Arkham Origins was definitely the weakest.
Well, yeah, but that was kind of more like a God of War Ascension, Gears of War Judgment type of thing.
Yeah, thank God Rocksteady's working on this one.
Yeah. Predator challenges. That was something in Arkham Asylum I was really, really, really into. Just got obsessed with Predator challenges. There's just something really cool about. You just kind of have this mental image that because the Batman has a plan for everything, he knows the most efficient way of doing everything. So there was something about Predator challenges about you taking out every single person in the room as quickly and as efficiently as possible, because that's what the Batman does. And oh man, I wonder what Predator challenge is going to have in the new game, because everyone's talking about the DLC and the Batmobile and it's going to look really pretty and whatever new gameplay features they have, and I'm just like, Predator challenges, please.
Right.
Yeah, I think I probably spent more time in Predator challenges than the actual single player. I don't know. But yeah,
that's Batman. So
yeah, as far as the DLC, I mean, like one of my friends, he's gonna sell me his PS4 bundle copy, which I guess is just a downloadable code. So it's gonna sell me like that copy, so I'll be playing on my PS4 and see how that goes.
Hey guys, what did we miss?
Been revived.
Hey everybody.
Time.
This raid is really hard.
Takes out the tank and the intern with him.
Charter on heroic mode. Charter on heroic mode needs to be nerfed.
Really? Because I'm on that same provider and I'm okay.
I think it's because the area of town I'm in. But yeah.
Oh right, so you're standing in acid, so you need to get that GTFO add-on then.
Yep.
I fucking Bronson.
Yeah, what I miss
on the season pass for Batman Arkham Knight. Now that we have a better idea of what it's going to include, is it something you're going to buy?
Probably. Like, I've never bought a season pass. The only one I've ever got was I got Halo 4, and that's because it came with my collector's edition. So this will be like the first one I actually buy, because it actually seems like a meaningful content, and each they're doing 3 story missions, right?
3 that are announced so far. Well, 3 bundles of story missions.
Yeah, 3. Okay, 3. There are 3 for sure story missions. Well, if each of those are like Harley Quinn's Revenge, that was $10, so that's $30 worth right there.
It's not bad.
I mean, that's then I get all the Batmobile skins. If they have an animated series Batmobile, Oh my god.
That's
That will
pre-ordered.
will sell me on that fucking season pass as far as the skins go. Yeah, this doesn't seem nearly as filthy and disgusting as I once thought. So, good on them for clarifying.
Yeah, it's like
And
I was
someone's
telling
playing
Anthony
Hearthstone.
and how I was mentioning on the podcast. It's like as long as it does not pull from the story of the game, and you still get your $60 experience without having to buy the season pass, I'm completely fine with.
Oh, the Hearthstone.
They said the season pass is like 6 months, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like the Batgirl DLC is a prequel, so we don't have to worry about that taking from the story. I mean, this is a lot better than like the Catwoman stuff that was in Christ, what was its name? Arkham City. Like that was way grosser because like you missed all of Catwoman's important shit she was doing. Like if you did not buy that game new. Like that was so shitty. And as someone who rents games, that was shitty for me too. Because like I couldn't buy Batman at launch. I didn't buy Batman until Black Friday when it was $30. So yeah, I don't know.
Cool. How about your thoughts, Ray? Are you into Batman? Do you think you're gonna pick up the season pass?
I'm thinking about it. From what I've seen in this one compared to the other ones, like I've been close to beating all of them. Just something happens and I get distracted and just forget to come back. But this new one
actually come back to beat these awesome games.
Like I'm at the end of like Arkham Asylum. I'm at the end of City, and I'm just I don't know.
You can skip Origins. It's okay.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you can skip Origins. You aren't missing anything.
Origins, unless you are a really big fan of the Joker, you can skip it.
I am a big fan of the Joker.
Then you might want to play it.
I heard that one was bad. That's why I skipped it. But
it wasn't a bad game. It just wasn't nearly as good.
I don't know. I always feel like if I've gone from a game for too long, I need to start it over because I don't remember what happens.
Where were you in Asylum?
Asylum. Oh, I swear I was right towards the end.
Like where though? Like what? Do you remember what happened?
It's been so long since I played that game.
You should start that game over. It's not very long.
Oh, I know it's not. Like I liked the beginning, the whole like walking the Joker through the asylum. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, that game was awesome. I think City is a better game, but man, like this DLC does not seem as awful and horrible as once thought.
Yeah, so far.
Yeah. So far.
Like, for all I know, they could just walk up on the stage at E3 and just be like, wait, there's more! Pre-order now, and we'll throw in more DLC! That's exclusive only to pre-orders, that will charge you lots of money down, it's like an infomercial. I mean,
what are the,
damn it, if they have to sell DLC like infomercials, I'm just like,
I'm gonna see like I know if you pre-order like right now you get Harley Quinn as a playable character in something. I think it's challenge maps, and I'm gonna look up what Batman bundles there are.
As far as the season pass, I probably won't get the season pass because it's just gonna be like I kind of feel like I probably won't care about the Arkham stories. The Batgirl one's interesting, and I probably won't care much about the Batmobile racing stuff. So maybe they're just gonna end up charging $20 for the Batgirl stuff if you didn't get the season pass, and I'm like, maybe, I don't know. It depends how good it is.
They'll probably charge $10. Like that's what they did for Harley Quinn.
I would say $15.
Look,
they want to sell season passes, so they're gonna make it kind of expensive to a point where you kind of need to think about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, they want to do season passes because they want you to fucking commit to that, and they get the money up front. It's staying with pre-orders.
Yeah, because then they're getting $100 instead of $60.
Yeah. So, which, yeah,
I'll just wait.
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna buy this up front, mainly because that's right after E3, and I'm gonna be Poe. But I will most definitely look into it once I find out what the DLC is. I know they got 2 different collector's editions of the game. One is $100 and it comes with all the DLC, an art book, a comic, a steelbook case, and some skins. And then if you pay, a little like more beyond that, I want to say it was $150 or $200. You get like this Batmobile statue.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
So I mean,
And the statue itself looks really cool.
It does look cool, but I don't know. Like, I'm willing to pay an extra $40 to get a bunch of extra stuff with my DLC and game itself. I mean, you're paying $40 for the season pass anyway at that point, so you might as well just get the art book and the comic. Yeah, man, I don't know. It's weird. It's so weird.
Like I said, I mean, I got the game for free, so I'm not complaining. But whether I buy the season pass or not, all depends. I'm not going to buy it immediately. I'm just going to wait it out. I'm going to enjoy the game as it is. Hopefully the single game by itself isn't impacted negatively in any way. And if that's the case, I'm going to be like, okay, let me see how this content drop is. Let me see if this content's really worth it. Like, if it's like a 30-minute story mission, I'll be like, yeah, I'm probably going to do this. But they're like, oh my god, it's 4 hours of new story, and this is just the first month. I'll be like, okay, yeah, you can take my $40.
The other thing is they have to like make Batgirl more interesting than just her appearance, because it's like if Batgirl's just basically a Batman, but everything she has is just lamer, that's going to be a problem. I mean,
that's how it
looks.
I mean, they've done a good job in the past. I mean, they've done a decent job in the past of having, multiple characters that play differently.
Right.
Like Robin plays significantly differently than Batman did. So, I mean, they'll probably...
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They have a good track record so far, anyway. So, we'll see what happens, but I know we're all looking forward to the game. I cannot wait. Like I said, I'm just going to say it one more time. We played it in Glorious 2K.
Glorious 2K.
Yeah,
let's not talk about this.
I won't be able to max out 4K with just two 980s, unfortunately.
Go quad.
It's such a bummer, I know. But, cool.
Spend another grand. You already gone down this dark path. You might as well just finish it. You're already there, man. You might as well just go all the way.
You sound like a crack dealer, Bronson. Just like, I know you tried that weak shit, but now I got the strong stuff.
Whoa. Whoa.
Hey, he's enjoying this tech. I'm just saying, Batman max settings 4K.
That does
you can do it.
Great.
Witcher 4K. You could do it. With enough time, you'll be able to do it, but then there'll be something better, and you can never have enough.
I'm
just happy that
I'm sure
like, oh, you need to get
I'm sure if you did quad 980s, you wouldn't need to upgrade for at least 6 years.
But you do. Something's gonna challenge it, or
something
try to. Speaking of which, the way I kind of look at it, with the way like Nick showed me a video, this tech video that looks absolutely ridiculous for future tech of stuff, and I'm just like, this looks really good, because it was like some Square Enix demo, and they talked more about hair, and what the hell, guys. But, I'm starting to think that maybe games won't really look that good. They say, well, this is how games will look normally. I'm like, no, they won't, because that cost will be astronomically huge to make a game that look that good. I mean, yeah, it's tech demos. Anyways,
yeah,
but yeah, but realistically speaking, 95% of the stuff you're gonna run on Quad SLI, yeah, it's gonna last forever.
The thing is, like Quad 980 SLI sounds like, oh my god, like what the hell do you need that for? But to be honest, like that's not even an insane setup if you're doing 4K. Like it's really not.
I mean, if you're doing 4K,
you've got. Oh god.
10x is as high as you could go. Yeah.
I'm pushing into the 4K realm way too early, and there's definitely
you are paying that price. Like that is
yes.
I know 4Ks are going to get popular eventually. I just don't think it's going to be as fast as HD TVs were. Like, because, I mean, I've seen 4Ks in store.
I think it's going to be moving pretty fast, because now it's, like, at the point where it's, like, if you're going to buy a TV, like, unless you're on a very, very strict budget, it's almost worth going 4K. They don't really cost that much more anymore. You've got Netflix with 4K. Freaking, I think it's what Comcast is gonna have 4K set boxes later this year. They've already got 4K movies.
Like, this is like like having an HD TV in 04, 05. Like it's gonna be the standard, but like the majority of people I knew didn't have HD TVs until like 09, 08. I didn't have my personal one until 09, I believe. Anthony, when did your family buy your set you currently have?
2010.
Yeah, 2010. I know my uncle didn't. My uncle is like one of those people who doesn't do it until as late as possible. He was 2011. My grandfather was 2012. My mom was 2011, and that's because I bought her an HD set. So, unless you are an enthusiast like us, I say we're about 3 years away before it starts being like, oh, all of Netflix has their shit 4K ready. That's...
And even then, your internet better be ready.
Yeah.
Because have you ever tried watching 4K video on YouTube? Sometimes your internet can't keep, how many people's internets can actually keep up to the file size of 4K video?
Oh, yeah.
It's huge.
It's the whole streaming thing. It's the whole streaming video games thing. I tried out PlayStation Now, hooked it up wired to my new router, and rented Sonic. And even with 66 down and 5 up, and being the only thing connected to it, it still had fucking button delay. Now, granted, that's a game that's needs precise prompts, but the internet needs to evolve some more before we're 4K on everything in the house and all this other shit.
The hard part is that the internet has difficulty evolving because of how expensive and huge it is.
Yeah. It's
freaking, you want super fast, ultra low latency? Well, you're probably going to think about an overhaul of the internet in general, because signals can only travel so fast through the physical wire. I mean, that's just how it is. That's why Google's trying fiber optics or something like that now, and I think light travels faster than electricity through a cable wire. So who knows?
I mean, and then you go to Sony is obviously a premium brand. They are the more expensive ones. But my TV is 50 inches, and I'm kind of set on not going any less than that. I definitely won't go lower than a 46.
After tiny TV.
Yeah, well, that was a 24, but
I can see what made you decide that.
They're 40. They're 43, so close to a 46. Is $1,300, and they're 50, which is what I roll with, is $1,400, and a 55, which is what Ray has. Depending on what level of quality you want, between just regular 4K or their premium 4K, it's either $1,500 or $2,800. That's fucking expensive, man. That's, and then you go and compare that to their HD sets, which most of them are sub $1,500, even their really big ones.
I think this is one way of looking at it. Well, it's a lot cheaper than it used to be, true, but it's $2,800. And that's a lot of money, even though it's a lot cheaper in quotes than before. It's saying, the other way around is, going from 25 to 3,000, going from 2,500 to 3,000, it's only $500 more. Yeah, but that's still $500.
And when you're on sets that are the size of Ray's and mine, 4K makes a big difference. When you are a 40-inch or less, and especially if you're sub 38 or sub 36, 4K is not making as big of a difference. And the average person I know has about a 40-inch. So, that, I don't know, man. That's where you start to, I said, I think it's going to be adopted. I just think that the cost right now is too high. it's not like that jump from SD to HD. Like the average consumer, like you could sit my dad when he was alive down, or my mom, and show her an SD set and show her an HD set, and she sees that benefit. The average person, they're gonna be like, the color looks better, the motion looks better, but they're not gonna be like, they're gonna ask how much is it, and then it's gonna be like $2,800, and they're gonna be like, fuck that. No, I'll get the same size television for almost $2,000 less.
I think like they're trying. I have a feeling that the TV companies are trying to do a lot more than just resolution, because they always try to play all those demos where it's like, look, vibrant
like
colors,
Samsung?
so vibrant, it's more vibrant than life, and it's true. It looks like I have never like they try to show flowers that look as vibrant as freaking possible with as much contrast as possible, and I look at them like, there's no way flowers can look like that.
Yeah,
I've never seen a tree that green.
Samsung has this technology. It's called like 4K Super HD or something, like Super 4K HD, and they use like freaking like legit crystals in the TV to somehow make the colors like pop a lot more. That's actually one of the sets I'm looking at, actually, to be honest. That's why I know about it. Yeah, I mean, that's become the thing. Like, okay, it's gotten the 4K resolution. Well, now it's like, okay, we're getting to the point to where resolution isn't going to get any better because you won't see a difference. And how can we push our TV to the next level? So now it's going to be, TV's going to be like, okay, we've reached 4K. Now it's going to be pretty much all about picture quality. And that's what happened with like 1080p. Like, if you look at a 1080p TV when they first came out, and look at them now, they're completely different. Like, they completely blow away 1080p TVs because it's not all about resolution. It's also the contrast and how they handle dimming and what type of technology is it and all of that. I mean, the OLED TVs, I mean, those things look freaking amazing.
OLEDs are so
it's not
nice.
They look fucking great. But I am saying that we're all very technically minded gentlemen here who follow this shit pretty religiously. And to the average person, they see 50-inch Sony television running for $800, looks great. They see the 4K version running for either double that or triple that, and it looks better, but to them, marginally so, they're going to be like, fuck that.
Dude, trust me, I used to work at Best Buy, I know. Like, we would have those customers that'd be like, okay, I'm looking for the best, I want the best picture, I want this, I want that. Then we other people like, okay, I want a 50-inch TV. And they're like, okay, we show them the options, like, I'll take the second from the cheapest one. So, absolutely. I mean, some people, they're like, this is better than what I have now, that's all I care about. So,
like me,
like, people aren't, like, here's the thing, like, to be honest with you, it also depends, like, what you're doing with the thing. Like, it honestly does. Like, if all you're doing is watching, like, over-the-air television, then, yeah, like, you don't need to get a super high-end TV. But if you're going to be watching Blu-ray movies or you're going to be gaming on the thing, that's where you're really going to see the difference. Because over-the-air is so compressed, you're not going to see a huge difference. Like, you'll see a difference, but it's not going to be as huge. But when you start running, like, Blu-rays and gaming consoles or even a gaming PC, that's when you're really going to notice the difference.
The thing is, though, is that I obviously don't know anything about displays and all the tech that goes through displays, but I can't help but feel that every single person out there and every single company out there has their own different idea of what is the perfect picture. And to me, I just simply just say, well, to me, what's the perfect picture? Well, if I'm watching a movie, I just want to look like it's on the theater screen. That's all I really look for. I don't need, like, Spider-Man where that yellow in the theater screen is suddenly this gigantic vivid solar ray of the solar system on my TV. Or that's how I look at it.
Yeah, like, I'm like, here's the thing. I recognize the difference between my current set and, like, that Sony I'm going to be picking up at the end of the year. I totally recognize that difference. I'm aware of it. But, like, and the difference is enough to where I care. But I've been in that same Best Buy and seen their 4K version. I'm like, this looks better. $2,000 better? No. Like that, and they're gonna, and like I said, when 4K gets cheaper, that's when I think it's gonna get bigger. Like that's.
Yeah, and it's dropped drastically. It's just like the HD TVs. They dropped drastically the first few years, and then it kind of like tears down.
When we were at CES 2013, 4K had just been announced or something like that.
It wasn't just announced. It was definitely the big thing. Yeah,
it was. Yeah, it was. I would say 4K. Yeah, obviously 4K has existed before, but it was kind of like that was when the first big push into this consumer market was at CES 2013. Those were like $12,000, $14,000 TVs, and then a year later they crashed down to $5,000, which is great and all, but it's still $5,000 a year later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. Just think of all the things you could buy for $5,000.
$5,000, like
you could build 2 really high-end computers.
You could build one of Nick's computer and still have money to buy a halfway decent car. Like, think about that. Think about that for a second.
Like 5,000 or 10,000?
5,000. You can buy a good car for $2,000. Like not an amazing car.
You have to look really hard though, but yeah, a usable car, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not saying that you fucking gonna.
I mean, $14,000. Think about it. You could you could be one of the first consumer adopters of 4K, or you can go out and buy yourself a brand new Honda Fit. Think about that.
Yeah, like there comes a point where it's like, no. And like I said, I love tech. If I had all the money in the world, I'd be early adopting like everything.
I mean, well, someone has to push tech, and it's always going to be expensive out the door. That's just how it is.
Yeah,
you just have to wait for it to come down.
Yeah, which I'm fine with doing that. Like the exception for me has been game consoles, and like that's not.
Game consoles don't really go down in price unless someone's trying really hard to make a sale.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, you make a really good point about game consoles. Bronson, but back then it was you could buy a PS2 for $150, but then with the 360 and PS3 there was just never that ultra cheap version that towards the end of a system's life. Nintendo really wanted to sell GameCubes because no one really ever wanted to buy one, so you could get a really cheap GameCube.
Yeah, the consoles from last generation are still $250. That is fucking crazy.
Xbox One, $50 more.
Right? Right? It's $100 more to get an Xbox One with 2 games. That's nuts.
It really is.
That's pretty crazy. But cool, let's move along to the next news story. Sony will not be having a press conference at Gamescom, which is quite weird because Gamescom is arguably the second biggest event for Sony every year. Obviously, E3 is the big one for them. Tokyo Game Show is pretty big. Usually Gamescom's even bigger than Tokyo Game Show. But they didn't say they're not going to be there. They just said they're not going to have a press conference. And everyone's flipping out. They're like, why are they going to be at Gamescom? No, do they not have anything to show? Well, here's the thing. E3 is taking place a couple weeks later than it usually does, and Gamescom's taking place a couple weeks before it usually does. So now Gamescom is less than 2 months after E3. So
that would make it sooner than PAX.
Yeah, before it used to be 2.5, 3 month difference. Now it's less than 2 months. So what Sony says, they're not going to have a press conference, but they're going to be focusing their efforts on Paris Games Week, which takes place in October. So they're going to be pretty much passing, no big announcements at Gamescom. We need a little bit more time. We're going to unleash everything in October, right before the holiday season. I think it makes perfect sense. You don't need to have a huge event less than 2 months afterwards. You have your huge event in E3, then you have your event in October, which is pretty much the beginning of the holiday season. It's very smart if you ask me.
My theory is that they also are probably not having a press conference because Sony's probably moving a little bit away from the press conference model because You think about it. PlayStation,
Well, I
PlayStation
say
experience.
that
Okay.
because
Well, I'm not saying they're going to stop.
Because so here's a quote from Sony. They said, "Quote: With the changes this year of E3 taking place a week later and Gamescom taking place earlier, we feel that both PlayStation and the wider industry would benefit from a major news milestone later in the year during the most important period for gaming." So I don't think they're getting away from press conferences. I really don't. I just think it all comes down to timing, and it makes sense. Like you can't. Well, first of all, you're really putting pressure on yourself to rush things when you have to deliver a whole nother like keynote. You got to think about it. Like E3, Sony begins planning their E3 press conference as soon as they're done with their. So like the one they're going to be showing off in about a month, they were planning that right when they were done last year. And there's years and years of work that goes into that, and there's so many moving parts. To be doing two of those within less than 2 months of each other, it's a bit insane. Plus, like he said, why not do it in October when it's beginning of the holiday season? Makes perfect sense. Plus, by Sony doing a bigger conference at the Paris Games Week, which really isn't a huge gaming show, they're going to get more publicity because they're not going to be competing with everyone else like they will at Gamescom.
Not only that, PSX, which I'm hoping that's a event that we can cover this year because it's in Las Vegas.
Did they confirm that they're doing that again this year?
I don't know, but like,
I mean, well, you think about it. When you are like Apple or in this case Sony, and you have an event just on PlayStation, there's like no other news around, all the attention's on you, and that's kind of a good thing, assuming you do it right.
I mean, that's what Apple does. Apple used to like do their thing at CES, and now Apple's like, okay, no, we do our WWDC every summer, and that's where we announce our Mac operating systems, our iOS operating systems, and then when we're time to announce the Apple Watch or time to announce the iPhone, we just said, bam, here's our date. Here's when we're doing it. And then guess what? The only thing the entire tech world's talking about that day is Apple.
I actually have a question about this because Nick would know. Okay, you both know I've been in the market for a tablet for a little over a year now, and I'm about ready to commit. Question: when is the next iPad going to be repealed, do you think?
September?
Yeah.
Do you think it is going to be worth waiting?
Probably, yes.
It depends. What are you going to use it for?
Books and Hearthstone and maybe movies.
Okay, that sounds like, you probably could just get an old model.
You'd be fine getting one now. The only reason that'd be worth saving is so that you can get the current model cheaper. That's the only thing that'd be worth waiting for because they're going to do the same thing. It's going to be probably bigger storage size, they're going to have a faster processor, better camera, maybe a couple new features, but you're not doing anything intensive at all. So you'll be perfectly fine. So, I mean, the iPad Mini 3 is already somewhat new, and the only difference literally with that is just the Touch ID and the gold color. That's literally the only difference. So I know you can get like the iPad Mini 2, I think it's like $100 cheaper than the 3, and like I said, the only difference is Touch ID and the gold color. Then that's the exact same thing. So I think that'd probably be your best bet is getting the Mini 2.
Because I've been looking at the original Air and and like part of me is thinking about going just all out for an Air 2 because the reason I say that is because like, okay, well, I know this way I probably won't have to upgrade for a couple years or for a very long time. But I don't know, like I've told you guys how I'm picking that thing up, right?
No,
Hello?
You haven't.
I go through AT&T and they have this thing called the Next program where you can add the cost of the device to your cell phone plan over the course of either 12 or 24 months.
Right.
And the difference between an Air and an Air 2 is $5 a month.
Oh, wow.
So I'm kind of like, well...
Yeah, get the Air 2.
Yeah, Anthony, thoughts?
$5 a month?
Yeah. The difference is $5. It's either going to be 27 or 33.
That's just gonna add up to like $60 a year, really. So it's like to get an Air 2, Air 2 is pretty good for $60 a year.
Well, yeah, no, it would be though the difference is $5. So like an Air 1 is 27 versus an Air 2, which I think is 33.
Yeah, $60 more
Yeah, so
a year.
Yeah, so I think I'm thinking that's worth it. I'm also going to work on it at events because, as I found out last year, a 6-pound laptop with about a half-pound charger, carrying it with me across the LA Convention Center for 8 hours, suddenly feels like a 35-pound laptop. So that's why I don't know. So I'm probably going to do work on it too because you can hook keyboards to those things, right? Like Bluetooth, the Mac keyboards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This is seeming like a really good idea to work on for events, and then yeah, I don't know. Your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I would definitely go with the Air 2. I would definitely go with the Air 2. Like I said, with what you're doing, I mean, you'll be fine with the Air 2. That'll be completely fine.
You probably need to look into word processing because I don't. You need to probably find a word processing thingy out there that can actually check that can do help with some spell checking grammar.
Well, the Apple one that's free that'll come with your iPad Pages. I use it on my Mac. It's just as good as Word. It's Apple
version of
good. Word.
And it's free on all clueless about all this Apple stuff because the last Apple device I have, and I still have it, is a. At this point, it's gonna be a 5-year-old iPod Touch. Yeah, freaking. I've been out of the loop of Apple for a really long time.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm hoping to like I probably won't be able to pull the trigger before E3, but I'll definitely want to do it before PSX or PAX. Because that once again, man, I also it'd be really good to take notes on that thing on the show floor. So I don't know. Yeah, I know neither. Nick, have you gone to a tablet yet, or yes? No.
I have not, and you know what? I keep debating what I want to do because here's the thing. I was like, my girlfriend has the iPad Mini, and at first I was like, oh, why would you get an iPad Mini? And I use her iPad Mini all the time. I'm like, this thing's awesome because it's like the perfect size. It's very portable. I like the size of it, but now I'm kind of stuck because I have the iPhone 6 right now. And here's the thing. When I had the 5S and then they announced the 6 Plus, I'm like, this thing is just way too damn big. But now that I'm used to the 6, whenever I use the 6 Plus, I'm like, shit, I want the larger screen. So when I buy every new iPhone every single year. That's how I do it. You might say you're crazy, you spend a lot of money. Actually, no, I kind of break even because what I do is I buy the phone on contract and I sell my previous phone and I pretty much break even every single time. So why not? Like, you're breaking even, why not upgrade every year? So I'll be getting the 6S Plus because I want the larger screen. I'm used to the 6, I'm ready to go up to the next screen size. So I'll be getting that. So that completely eliminates the need for a mini because if I have the 6S Plus, there's no reason why I need a mini because the mini at that point it's larger, but not too much larger. So it's like, if I have a 6S Plus, that's a pretty big phone. Do I really need a tablet when I have my MacBook? So I'll probably not need a tablet. I still see the reason to get one, but I think I'll be fine between my phone and my MacBook.
See, I don't know how to personally feel about phablets because the name is like, oh my goodness, fab. Such a fab.
Come on,
phablets.
Anthony, you know you want to be fabulous.
The problem is if I go to a frickin' LG G3, I'm going to end up having effectively a phablet, and I'm just going to, or almost a phablet. I'm just like, why do screen sizes have to get so frickin' big? Like, guys like me, like, I don't obsess on my phone every day. Like, I don't need the biggest screen in the world. In fact, the screen size on the LG G2 is probably the biggest I could practically want. I understand that,
yeah, that's the thing, though. I use my phone so much for so many things. Like, I probably use my phone more than you do, Anthony. So.
Well, yeah, duh.
Yeah.
The only thing I ever use my phone for is checking text messages, looking up some quickie thingy on the internet, and that's it. And no, I don't even play Hearthstone on it. Yeah, I need to get into that. But I don't even play games on my phone yet. Like, it's just my phone is it's like my text messaging, occasional phone calling, and looking things up on the internet device. It isn't my work device.
I think so. I think for me, like I'm completely fine with the size of the 5S. In fact, it's perfect for me personally. Especially
that's the thing. I got used to my 6, and now the 5S just feels ridiculous. I'm like, how did I use this thing?
But like for me, I don't want a bigger size than the phone, but the tablet is perfect for what I want to use it for. Because, like I said, I want to use it for a lot of stuff where I'm sitting down at a desk anyway. And I carry a messenger bag with me, and I was at the AT&T kiosk in the mall to check out the size of a mini compared to an Air, and I'm like, both of these are so light I wouldn't notice them in my bag. And I actually have seen a mini. Tori on the staff has a mini, and the deciding factor where I kind of want to go a regular one is purely because of games and movies, and because of a faster processor, so it becomes a piece of, so like it doesn't get as outdated as fast. Yeah.
I always had like this really stupid comedical thing in my head where I'm like, what if I just buy a Bluetooth keyboard for my phone in case I ever need to type something? I thought that was and then I realized it's the dumbest thing ever because of how teeny weeny the screen is, but it's still really funny.
On a tablet, that totally makes sense.
Obviously, it makes on a tablet. I'm talking about like on my itty bitty phone screen. Like, what if I ever need to type something? Should I buy a Bluetooth keyboard? And then I realized that I was thinking of something really stupid. So yeah. Yeah, it's just like, to me, I don't really have a need for a tablet yet. I don't know what's gonna happen in 5 years. For all I know, it's like if I have to type a gazillion things on the go, then yeah. But
I think for me, like, I love reading books, but I'm tired of owning physical books. Like, books take up a lot of space. Like, Ray can tell you, like, under my bed, there's just stacks and stacks of books.
I don't want to look under your bed, Bronson.
Taser! But no, seriously, like, look on that shelf over there. Like, it is just nothing but stacks and stacks of books.
It doesn't look like that many unless it goes back.
It does go back.
Okay,
there's a
lot
layer.
of books.
Yeah, it goes like a little bit past halfway to the back.
Jesus.
So, that's.
Then again, if you also have a lot of books, that's like a lot of weight to move around.
Yeah,
like, have you ever moved a box of just books?
Yeah,
it's the
super
heaviest
heavy
thing ever.
Yeah, like, and then there's the fact that, like, downstairs, a bunch of my books got ruined when it flooded. And I'm like, I would never have to deal with that again if I just locked it all to an Apple account.
Yeah, I was about to say, even if your thing got ruined.
Yeah, it's still there.
Computers.
Taking over the world, Bronson.
Yeah, it's still there. So, those are very large factors in me wanting to move over. And then I look over to the gaming front on iPad and how it went from like, this is kind of a cool novelty thing to like,
oh my god,
to like real games are coming out on iPad that look super cool and interesting.
That's my iPad to the fullest. But
I've never thought that.
Yeah, they have a.
I never heard.
I'm
I never
not
heard
into
you would
MOBAs,
say
so I
stuff
can't
like
tell
that.
you how good of a MOBA it is or not. But there's a very popular MOBA on iOS called Vainglory. I don't know if you've heard about it.
I have. Yep.
Yeah, people rave about it. So it's like the biggest MOBA on iOS. So
well,
I don't know.
The thing about iOS games I kind of notice is that because so many people have smartphones, that you kind of have to be aware that these aren't exactly anything remotely close to enthusiasts as far as most of them are concerned. And you're just like, are they just rating it 5 stars just because it gives them about 2 seconds of fun, like a little itty bitty bit of sugar?
Many outlets that actually review console
like
games
real
and
games,
PC games, are really, they love it.
And and full real games. To know.
I'm not going off the App Store reviews. If you have App Store reviews, then Flappy Bird was the best game ever created.
Yeah, that's what Infinity Blade. That's a really good one. Like, like back when iOS games were basically a bunch of knockoffs of real games, and they were really bad, and we laughed at them. Infinity Blade was actually one of the rare few things that actually was good. Like, I forget if Infinity Blade 2 on my iPod Touch, and I'm like, this game is a lot of fun, and I don't know why I played it for 5 hours, but I did, even though it's a really basic touchscreen type of game. But It works. It's good.
Like, Anthony, do you remember XCOM?
Yes.
Like, that's on iPad.
A lot of stuff is on iPad. San Andreas is on there. Some various overpriced branding stuff.
XCOM actually controls well and is like built for the device. Like San Andreas, it probably does not. But like I look at games like FTL and Hearthstone, and they have some really cool games like Ridiculous Fishing. And I'm like, this is a really interesting platform.
Yeah, it's the mobile gaming business generated $45 billion last year. So much more than the gaming.
Yes, you think about it. Yeah. Everyone has a smartphone. Well, just about almost everyone has a smartphone.
Everyone has a smartphone.
Plus, pretty much all the big games are free to play, so you get people hooked, and then people are like, "Oh, it's only 99 cents. Oh, it's only $2." And when it's all said and done, they've spent.
Game Dev Story was fucking heroin.
It is so easy to break, but it was fun.
Like that game until
Story, and that game, it's really fun. But my problem with it is I just found it to be way too easy. And like once you play it for like 4 to 5 days and you've done everything you can do, then there's pretty much nothing you can do at that point.
That was my main concern with like phone games, is because they just burn up after 4 or 5 days. Because obviously for something that you pay only $2 for, it's like
Yeah, like that's why
you're definitely not getting a Chrono Trigger type of length of a game
unless you buy Chrono Trigger.
Unless you buy Chrono Trigger on the iOS device, which by the way is like being sold for like what, $10 or something.
That's what it is on the Wii.
I think it's $10 right now. Yeah.
I mean, like Square Enix puts like various Super Nintendo titles on the iOS and Android, I think, and they're kind of expensive, but I can kind of get, because they're like, well, this is an actual quality game that we released 20 years ago that's actually better than most of the appy stuff here.
But like, I look over at like the top 20, like IGN did an article fairly recently, like top 25 iPad and iPhone games. How much is Chrono Trigger?
It is $10 right now. It's $9.99. You have to add those pennies, Bronson.
Okay, so it's $8 on the Wii store, so you're paying $2 extra to have it portable. And like that game doesn't really require much precision, as we saw when we were Let's Playing it and had a 1 second lag on everything. But yeah, like Vainglory looks super cool. Papers, Please was great on PC and would be perfect for it. XCOM, Ghost Trick. And there's a lot of innovation going on in that space. Like, I've been doing like research on it. I'm like, a lot of this stuff looks really cool. And really interesting, like a lot of fun. And I feel that space is going to have a lot of innovation in it as the years go on. Because it's this control scheme that's not like any other control scheme, really. And then they have like these developers who kind of have to make games on the cheap. And you have these... it's developers making games on the cheap. And they have to sell them for cheap, which is kind of a good thing, because like you look at a game like, I don't know, like how much is Vainglory right now, Nick? Have you looked?
It's free.
Okay, so that's a free to play. But Anthony, how much was Infinity Blade?
I think I paid $6 for it.
Yeah, the Infinity Blades usually came out at like $7.99, and then they usually like sometimes they do like launch weekend, it'd be like $5, and then it'd go up to like $7.99.
Yeah, I remember I paid less than $10 for it, and it was kind of fun because I'm like sitting in class waiting for it to start. I'm just like, ooh, this is fun.
Yeah, like one thing I feel one thing that they are ahead of the curve on is pricing. Because in the AAA gaming world, there's basically 3 prices for everything, or 4. There's a $60 title, a $40, there's a $60 retail, $40 retail, $20 downloadable, $15 downloadable. Like, those are the 4 prices. And the way iOS and Android, Google Play Store is kind of evolving is you have these games.
Most of your big games are free to play.
Yeah, or if they're not free to play, they're
$8 it's considered like a high priced game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like $8. That's expensive on the App Store. I think the biggest problem on the App Store though is a lot of the time if you want to find those high quality titles, the Monument Valleys, the Vainglories, FTL, if it's not like Hearthstone where it's everywhere, or Vainglory where people are talking about it, you really have to dig. Like, you have to go on, like, iOS, gaming sites and gaming forums and ask, like, hey, I just got an iPad, or hey, I just got an
iPad. Well, it depends. If you... So what I do is the App Store gets updated every Thursday, so they update, like, their best new games. They usually have a free app of the week, it's called App of the Week, but it's always most of the time it's a game. And they have their little featured sections. Like, this week they added Broken Age, so you can go into the App Store and Broken Age. Broken Age is $10. So... if you check the App Store pretty often, you'll see those games.
Yeah, but, like, even then, they're not always the featured title.
Right. But they always have, like, best new games, best new game updates. So, like, best new game updates is good because that's where you'll see, like, popular games that are getting updated and that are really good games. But then you'll see there's popular games, and then there's best new games. So, for example, if I go to best new games, I see... Broken Age is a Jurassic Park game. Marvel Future Fight.
Broken Age looks so good. That game looks so cool.
Yeah, so you just have to, like I said, I like to check the App Store every week at least, and kind of see, like, okay, what's going on? What are the popular games? I was like, oh shit, they added Broken Age. That's pretty cool.
Like XCOM on iPad is $10.
Yeah, like $10. There very, very, very rarely does a game go any higher than $10. $10 is like the benchmark for pricing of games.
Yeah, like I'm looking CNET did a top 30 iPad games article. I'm just gonna go through some of the bigger ones I've actually heard of. Sailor's Dream, $4. The Room, $3. Plague Inc., which is basically that old Newgrounds game. What was the name of that game called? Like, that game is $1. Papers, Please is $8. Monument Valley. Yeah, that's $4.
Monument Valley was pretty sick.
Infinity Blade 3, $7. Hearthstone's obviously free. Like, Grand Theft Auto is $7. Like, granted, playing that on the iPad is not the way you want to do things.
Right.
But, FTL is $10, but that's that was a full PC game. Bastion is $5. Like, Bastion's $5.
That's not bad at all.
Like, considering Bastion on every other platform is $15. So
well, it's just like I remember with like when the Vita came out, so that Asphalt on the iPhone, which is like $8, and the exact same game came to Vita, it was like $50. It was the exact same game.
Yeah, it's because it's because on consoles you have to like kind of stick to the same pricing tier as everybody else, which means smaller games either have to be 15, 20, or you have to just admit that you're a full big retail game and sell for 40 or 60.
Well, yeah, because it's like a psychology thing. So you see a game, let's say you know nothing about the game, and you see this game is $20, this other game is $60. Your brain's gonna tell you, oh, this is a $20 game, which means it's probably shitty, or it's just not near the quality of the $60 game. So you can actually lose game sales by your game being cheaper, as weird as that sounds.
Yeah, like, if you are an unknowing consumer, that can totally happen. But if you are a knowledgeable consumer, I think that it almost hurts you a little bit. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
Cool, so one other quick on the Gamescom thing. So people are like, oh, is Microsoft going to be there? Microsoft didn't confirm they're going to be there, but Phil Spencer did respond to someone on Twitter, and he said, sure, we think Gamescom is an important conference for us, one of the biggest game shows in the world. So he didn't say they're going to have a conference, but I'm pretty sure they will. So we'll see what happens. Okay, guys, you guys remember the good old days where Tony Hawk was good? The Tony Hawk Pro Skater days? You guys remember that?
The first
are great.
The first two Undergrounds were pretty good too.
Yeah, the first Underground was one of my favorite skating games.
I liked Underground too. It was really dumb. It had Bam Margera in it.
So, Activision has announced Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 being developed by Robomoto and Disruptive Games. It's slated to come out on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One later this year, with PS3 and Xbox 360 versions following shortly after. As the game indicates, Pro Skater 5 is a callback to the old school lineage of the first 4 titles back when the franchise was in its prime. The game was the series' finely tuned gameplay with new additions such as power-ups and the ability to shoot projectiles for specific missions. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 features a new set of levels packed with objectives and missions you can complete solo or with friends via online co-op and competitive play. Whether you just want to have a session with friends or strangers or want to level up your character online and then take them offline, the game's online flow is seamless. Your created skate parks can also be shared with the world.
This sounds so amazing.
I don't know how to feel about this. Those first couple Tony Hawk games were pretty good.
They did get bad later on. But...
like, everything after Underground 2, and really everything after Underground 1, was very, very mediocre or awful in some cases.
Yeah, that's how I felt about them. But whenever I've heard about this one, it sounds good.
And like, peak Tony Hawk was Tony Hawk 3. Like, that's when Tony Hawk was at its peak. Because then 4, the environments got bigger, like, they started doing weirder shit. You know, like, just, like, 3 was peak Tony Hawk. So Tony Hawk, in reality, hasn't had, like, hit its peak 14 years ago.
Woo!
So, you know, hey, it's time. Maybe they finally turned it around.
Yeah, they finally figured out the problem 14 years later.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm kind of skeptical just because, like, I don't know. They really burned that franchise out, and look what they're doing with Guitar Hero, like the mess that's becoming.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like
every stage fear.
Yeah, so it's like Destiny. I mean, I know this is totally different, but just Activision hasn't been very promising lately. But who knows? Maybe it could come out and blow us all away. It's gonna be coming out later this year. So it definitely seems like one of those games you'll rent. But who knows? Maybe it could come out and blow us all away, and freaking it brings back the good old days of Tony Hawk.
Yeah, that could happen.
Skateboarding isn't near as big as it was 14 years ago. Like, skateboarding's it hasn't died, but it's kind of died. It's not near as big as it used to be.
I'm not an expert on this, but haven't been on a college campus. It's kind of more about longboarding now.
Well, yeah, it's more like
longboarding did
it's not like
over.
A competitive sport. I mean, it is, but it's not near as big as it used to be.
Well, I'm just saying people ride longboards
and stuff, but...
Okay, well, if you're talking about skateboarding as a sport, okay, I don't know about that part, but as far as skateboards and longboards on a college campus, I see a lot more longboards now. But that's just my personal experience looking around a college campus.
I don't... You know, I kind of want an aggressive inline. Is anyone with me on that?
I'm halfway there with you on that one.
I thought aggressive inline was a really awesome Tony Hawk clone.
It was good, but I lost interest in it really quick. Like, it started out and I was like, this is cool, but
it was Tony Hawk with inline skates.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Hey guys, remember that amazing game that used my toy and you like jumped and like skateboarded? Oh my gosh. It was so awful. I said it was awesome. I was totally joking. It was so bad. Like, the delay. Oh, man, it was so bad.
Yeah, and then they did that again with a real motion control board with Tony Hawk, and it was awful.
Yeah.
Does anybody remember? And then they made a sequel to that game that used the same awful peripheral. God, fuck, Activision, what the fuck were you doing? Holy hell.
Yeah, that's why I don't have much hope for this game, but who knows? Maybe it comes out. It's freaking amazing.
Yeah,
wait and see what happens.
That's my only response to that. Just that sigh. I'm just like,
No, I remember when they unveiled Tony Hawk Ride, and then later in the press conference they show the Kinect, and they show a skateboarding game where it's like, you don't even have to use a fucking skateboarding peripheral. And I was like, wow, someone at Activision just committed seppuku. Someone at Activision is very upset they are part of this press conference right now.
Cool. So we'll end up seeing what happens. I've got one last news story, also with Activision. So, Destiny's major September expansion is going to be named The Taken King. The trademark was spotted, and an image was spotted, and the image has a remnant of the Hive. So, here's what's expected. The sci-fi shooter is due a meaty overhaul this autumn around the 1-year anniversary of Destiny's original launch. A logo reminiscent of the Hive suggests a return to the story of that particular alien race. The Taken King itself may be a reference to Oryx, whose son Crota you squash in the dark below. The leaked schedule, which emerged last year, suggests the expansion would offer far more content than the first 2 Destiny add-ons. Well, it's not really saying much.
Come out a fucking year later, I would hope it is.
It's believed that Taken King, previously known under its working title of Comet, will effectively be Destiny 1.5. The schedule also indicated that it would be released in a boxed version, presumably in a Game of the Year style package with all other Destiny content launched this far. The Taken King fits with what we know of Bungie's deal with publisher Activision. The contract both parties signed revealed the series would alternate between fully new games and yearly expansions over a 10-year period. For all of that, Destiny's next add-on, House of Wolves, launches March 19th. I don't know. We'll see what happens. The second expansion comes out in a couple weeks, and it's another disaster.
Yeah, my friend Quinn still plays that game. He finds it to be fun, but if his computer wasn't broken right now, he would have quit and gone back to WoW months ago.
True.
So, take that how you will. I know I quit and went back to WoW the second the new WoW expansion came out. Never went back. So... All right,
your thoughts on this, Anthony? You bought the Destiny bundle, so what are your thoughts?
I don't care anymore.
I just don't care.
I just don't care anymore. Like, after hitting what was the level cap originally? 20? That was the original level cap when it came out.
I think it was 20.
It was 20, and then 30 was the hard cap. 20 was the soft cap.
Okay, so the soft cap. I'll just go with 20 because
I reached the soft cap and I was like, yeah, this game is boring.
It's like
I got a little over halfway to the hard cap. I was very close.
I mean, well, I played Destiny. I played it with you guys. I played it with, most of the TGA staff, and it was a lot of fun when you play with the TGA staff. But then once everyone got to the soft cap, everyone just gave up on it, and so did I. And I'm just like, aside from the fact that I somehow am surprisingly effective at the multiplayer at the time, I was like, yeah, this game is okay, but I just don't care anymore.
I mean, that game is basically Halo with iron sights. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Like, that game is super fun when you play it with other people, but my schedule and life means I really don't have access to other people to play games with that often. Like as much like because the main people I play games with is the staff and Ray. Well, Ray, that's not that hard, but the staff, like I just sent Grand Theft Auto back because I was just playing the single player. As fun as that is, I beat the main story. Strangers and Freaks is cool, but not something I'm just like I have to play. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go, what would it take to get a heist together? Well, I need to call John, Bremen, and Anthony, and we all work completely different schedules other than website work, so to get this together, we need to pick a day and time that we can sit down for 4 hours and do this heist. And it's the same thing with Destiny and raids, except you need 5 people to do a raid. So it's just like, the fuck. Like that, and that's the problem. That is one of the problems with that game. Is if you are a single player, the game basically says "fuck you." And
I just look at Destiny and I'm just like, for all the hype and all the time and all the money and all the presentational touches they tried to do to it, I don't know. I just didn't care. There was nothing really wrong, but it was kind of hard to find things that stood out really well, too. gameplay was tuned pretty darn well, I'll say that much. Mission design, on the other hand, at the time needed some serious help.
What, man? You didn't like defending your robot?
A robot that
You use
runs
that
on
for
Windows
bait.
95 and is trying to hack through a Windows 7 system? Sure.
Just use it for bait.
You don't use it for bait. Like, you have to protect it or it dies and you lose the mission. Oh man, like that game, I will always remember that drinking game I came up with from that game. It's like, okay, every time your robot you have to stop and help your robot scan something, or protect him while he scans something, or open a door, take this shot. Step 2, die of alcohol poisoning before you get off the moon.
Yep.
Pretty much. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's, which, once again, bummer. That game's core gameplay is so good. Its core shooter gameplay is fantastic.
It's just the mission design and enemy design and that kind of stuff is just.
Well, the enemy design is just taken fucking straight from Halo, which that's fine.
But some of it's just really dumb too. Like, you remember that one fight that we spent like maybe an entire 45 minutes on 60-minute access fighting that had rotating shields?
Yeah.
That was just a case of me just sitting there just like, why?
Well, like, the reason they had to do that is because that was a lot of people's first MMO or MMO type thing. And, like, you go back and play the first raid in WoW, the mechanics, like any moron can do them now. But back in the day, the concept of decursing someone, or else they will kill everyone, that was hard to get around. I think that's the same.
I think what might force Bungie and Activision to really step it up with Destiny is if they really are planning to bring this to PC. Like, people who are PC gamers get how the MMO genre is supposed to work. And if Destiny would have came out on PC, it probably would have bombed horribly. For consoles, it probably survived mainly off of hype, but also because it's that Halo-like experience and people will enjoy that. So I think that when they probably won't even release the PC version, honestly, until like next year when they actually have a big expansion. Hopefully this expansion is so big it somehow fixes, like I said, it's supposedly Destiny 1.5. So we'll see what ends up happening. I think they know that they have a lot of fixing and changing to do if they want this to become a success. And if they aren't able to fix that obviously they have the new expansion coming out in 2 weeks. It's hard to call it an expansion. But if they aren't able to fix this game and make it a whole new experience by the third expansion, they're just going to have to be like, okay, we need to go back to the drawing board and start working on Destiny 2. Because this is a 10-year contract they've got. And yeah, they made their money back. They sold a shit ton of copies, but it was not very good. And people aren't going to buy a second Destiny or buy expansions unless they offer something that really makes it worth it.
Yeah, I would agree. Alright, is that it for Destiny? Can we move? Oh, actually, yeah. I have a news story that relates to Destiny and Hearthstone. Alright, Activision had their Q1 earning call, and they told us the number of people playing Destiny and the number of people who played Hearthstone. 20 million for Destiny. 30 million for Hearthstone.
Is that active players or like just accounts? Because that's always like the thing when you always look at numbers when they say 20 million people have played Destiny.
That is active. That is active.
Wow, that's a lot for Destiny.
20 million.
And that is 30 million
20
for
million active on Destiny. Holy
yes, there is. They average.
What are they doing? There's nothing
the average daily playtime is 3 hours.
What
average daily?
Average. That's in.
I thought this can't be right. This can't be right because like World of Warcraft has like what 10 million subscribers and going up right now.
I want to know what they consider to be active because if active means they've played it once in the past 60 days, okay, maybe I can get that.
Okay,
and if they're saying the average playtime is 3 hours, I'm thinking they're counting all sessions instead of like the giant gaps between months. Like I was like, oh, I signed to Destiny once every 3 months to play it for 5 hours and then stop for 3 months. I don't know. There's a lot of worm bending because 20 million would probably make this MMO or closest to an MMO you could, whatever you call it, more popular than World of Warcraft, which I really don't think is the case.
Yeah.
Hearthstone I can believe because it is a free game that pretty much just like spreads like you throw out a free game and if it's huge enough and the fact that it's made by Blizzard, yeah, that I can understand. League of Legends, world's most popular PC game for a good reason. It's free and runs on toasters. Hearthstone literally runs on any toaster out there that's less than 8 years old.
Yeah, just for
yes, it does.
It runs on your smartphone.
You know how GeForce Experience like recommends game settings. I was like, I wonder what GeForce Experience recommends my PC run this game at, and it was. I mean, like you said, anything can run this game. So it was like
even if it lags, it's turn-based.
Yeah, it's like, okay, 4K high. I was like, okay. Like I couldn't have figured that one out.
All right, well, moving forward, the Microsoft has announced Rogue Legacy is coming to Xbox One. So
yes. I loved that game.
Rogue Legacy is one of the best games on the PC, Vita, and PS4. So if you only own an Xbox One, there you go.
That game took me like an hour to figure out, and then I beat it in one night. I was just like, what happened?
Moving forward down the list.
Ooh.
What? Oh, this one's not something we can really talk about because it's just Rock Band 4's instrument. They're doing new hardware for it. And apparently it's going to have some minor improvements. A metal kick plate will make it so you don't have someone named Ben Walters won't break your kick pedal. So you won't have to buy a second one. Better.
That was funny, bro.
Better microphone quality. So